They've invested over the years in modernization. We have trained with them in a number of cases, and so being interoperable in a very short period of time would be no challenge with Sweden. And I was just in Sweden a couple of weeks ago, as you may know, and I had the opportunity to spend some time with the Minister of Defense, and also got a chance to look at some of their capabilities. Very impressed with the leadership in their military and the enthusiasm and commitment of their troops. So what they bring is, again, substantial military capability, a modern force, and they've invested a lot in their force. I was also impressed by their domain awareness, maritime domain awareness, and the awareness of what's going on in the skies around them as well, in the region. So they bring that to NATO as well. It will enhance our ability to be aware of what's going on in the maritime and the aerial domains. You ask about increasing activity with Sweden. We've done that already. We've increased the number of exercises and ship visits and a number of other things with Sweden. And so, I think we've continued to make progress and increased our opportunities to work towards greater interoperability. So, I think very encouraging. Now, you mentioned my interaction with my Turkish colleague. He's a brand new minister, recently installed. So my purpose in meeting him today was to an introductory meeting, just to congratulate him on being installed as Minister of Defense. And of course, I seize every opportunity to encourage him to move forward and approve the accession of Sweden. So, but it's a very short meeting, and I don't have anything to report out from that encounter. So.
Thank you, sir. Next question go to Politico EU. Lily.
Thank you very much. I have two brief questions. The first is, what is your message to allies who still haven't made concrete plans on how to reach the 2% defense investment target, in particular Canada and Luxembourg? And my second question would be, there are reports that the U.S. is now in favor of waiving the membership action plan for Ukraine. Do you think that such a move would be sufficient to meet the expectations of all allies, including those allies who want a clearer path toward membership for Ukraine at the Vilnius summit? Thank you.
Yeah, in terms of the action plan, I'll let the Secretary General speak specifically about that. But I think we're at a point in time where, you've heard me say that we're confronting historic challenges. And so what we've learned over the last many months as we've watched this unprovoked and illegal invasion of Russia into Ukraine, what we've learned is that, countries have to invest in their defense. And I think we know that already, and most everybody knows that already, but it became real as we saw this unfold. And so countries are leaning forward and more than willing to invest in their defense. And as we continue to discuss this, I think there is broad agreement that the 2% investment, 2% of GDP investment should be a floor and not a ceiling. And there are many countries that are anxious to exceed the 2%. And there are many countries that are on the glide path to get there in a reasonable amount of time. In terms of the specific countries that have not yet made it there, I would defer to them to talk about their plan to get there. But I see broad agreement that this is a goal highly worth pursuing. So we'll continue to encourage our allies to meet that goal, because it's really, really important. We have to continue to invest in weapons and munitions and replace the weapons and munitions that we provided to Ukraine in many cases. It's going to take increased investment to make sure that we are where we need to be across the board with NATO. We also have to standardize munitions. We've learned a lot there as well, and so our armaments directors are working together to make sure that where possible we're engaging in joint procurement activities and so a number of things that are really good things have transpired as a result of our efforts here, but a lot of that's taken place under the auspices of the UDCG. So.
Let's go to Ellie, CBS News.
Thank you for doing this. As you know, Secretary Blinken is traveling to Beijing this weekend, and one of his stated goals is to improve military communications. How would you describe the current mill-to-mill communications with China, and have you reached out for a meeting with your counterpart since Singapore? Thank you.
Well, thanks, Ellie. As you know, I have made an effort prior to going to Singapore and while at Singapore to engage my counterpart, and I'm confident that over time that's going to happen. We're going to meet at some point in time, but we're not there yet. Not because we didn't try, and we won't continue to try. As you know, I was in Singapore a week and a half ago. I've been on the road quite a bit, and so I've not reached out since. But again, the door is open, and my phone line is open. And so they can pick up the phone and call at any time, and we'll continue to work to make sure that we have open lines of communication. Ellie, you've heard me say a number of times, I think it's important that countries with significant military capacity and capabilities have the means to talk to each other so that we can manage potential crises and make sure that, things aren't allowed to unnecessarily spiral out of control. The kind of relationship that we want to have with China is one of competition and not one of contention. So we'll continue to work to make sure that where and when possible, we open those lines of communication. So.
We have time for one more question. Let's go to Elena from Suspilne, Ukraine.
Secretary Austin, thank you very much. First of all, recently it was the information that appeared in the New York Times and several in other American media that U.S. may offer Ukraine some so-called Israeli security model. Can you explain in more detail what exactly does it mean, and do you think it is a viable idea and it will be available for Ukraine as some kind of security guarantees, although I guess you know that it's not the same security guarantees as the Ukrainian side would like to receive?
Thanks, Elena. I won't speak to any type of security arrangement at this point in time. What I remain focused on, is making sure that we're providing Ukraine the security assistance that it needs to be successful in this fight, Elena. And it's really important that we and our partners that are fighting the fight remain focused on this, we'll have a bilateral relationship with Ukraine going forward, as you would imagine. The people who will hammer out those kinds of arrangements are talking to each other. But again, my focus remains on making sure we get the right kinds of security assistance to Ukraine so they can be successful. And I think this is a really critical time point in time on the battlefield. So. But thanks for the question.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for coming.